Former President Jacob Zuma's daughter Duduzile Zuma has been released on warning by the Durban Magistrates Court. The 42-year-old Duduzile has been charged with incitement to commit terrorism and public violence relating to social media posts, mostly on her X account, made during the civil unrest, which was sparked by Zuma's arrest for contempt of court. Basically, the court is saying Duduzile Zuma encouraged people to loot malls in 2021. The state says it has prima facie evidence to prove that Duduzile Zuma incited violence during the 2021 July unrest. It adds that the investigation is complete, and the state is ready to serve an indictment. The case of Duduzile Zuma is set to resume on the 20th of March 2025.
I'm currently residing, let me read the headings in as well, just for the record. Yes. Permanent residence, movable and immovable property. I'm currently residing at the address indicated there, where I have been residing for 13 years. The property belongs to the company that's mentioned there, a company owned by my estranged husband. I do not own any immovable properties in my own name. That place. I was born in Mozambique, in Maputo, and I am a South African citizen. My ancestral home is Duduzile, Nkandla, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, where my father currently lives. I also hold the strong view that the charges are malicious and politically motivated. They are aimed at settling political scores with my father by the current regime. Evidence in this regard will be led during the trial. Suffice at this stage that I am confident that a case of malicious prosecution will be well and easily established against the National Prosecuting Authority at the appropriate stage. I have instructed my legal representatives to pursue that action. 9. It is plainly nonsensical and petty to interpret words which are used, such as, quote, I see you, unquote, to mean that the people referred to or were influenced by my social media commentary. The mere fact that it has taken the state almost 4 years to work out whether a small number of social media messages constitute, quote, terrorism, unquote, speaks for itself and is an indication that the NPA is clutching at straws with a very weak case.
We never had an opposition to that. It was an arrangement between the two legal practitioners, given the fact that she is not a flight risk, and the investigation has been completed and the matter will be transferred to the High Court. So we're comfortable with that decision.
She alleges that these charges are malicious and political, and she questions the timing of what took you so long to charge her.
Spamandla, it's very, very noisy. It's important that we try and disabuse ourselves of this tendency of viewing or arguing legal issues that are still to be ventilated in a trial court from an uninformed, emotional and political perspective. Let me first explain the delay of about 3 years before the matter is brought to court. You will understand that they are charged in terms of, or she's charged in terms of protection of constitutional democracy against terrorism and related activities act. That's Proctor Tara. It is the first time that the NPA is charging a person based on a content posted on what we call X, which was previously known as Twitter, for a content that we consider to be amounting to incitement to commit terrorism. It's a unique case, complex in nature, in the sense that reliance on the investigation and evidence is based on social media posts. It is technical investigation. It is investigation that some of the parts of the investigative process had to be outsourced in terms of experts on social media, because SAPS doesn't have an expert in social media. Secondly, there's issue of emojis, the issue of images that needed to be interpreted by an expert in that field. There are procurement processes that needed to be followed in order to source or procure that investigative resource. Now, the process of investigating a matter therefore became protracted than we anticipated. It is that the reason why it took almost 3 years for the matter to finally have a decision made by the prosecution team, a memorandum presented to the national director for her to authorize the prosecution thereof. I hope I'm making sense.
From what you're telling us, it seems as though a lot of the evidence you're going to lead during the trial is forensic evidence and not necessarily based on what somebody may have complained about.
Of course, these are posts that needed to be interpreted. There's issue of authenticity of the evidence, there's issue of admissibility of the evidence, there's issue that needed to be determined whether this is not a fake account, it is a legit account, a legitimate account. We needed experts in that field, and unfortunately, government does not have those resources. They reside outside of government. Therefore, it had to be outsourced from experts in the field.
Again, apart from this unique case as you describe it, there are about 62 others and only one conviction. Are you happy about that rate of conviction if you take into account that 62 charged, only one convicted? I know each case is unique in its own way and right.
One important issue is the fact that we have a case which is about 62 accused persons with different legal practitioners. Obviously, it will be quite a protracted and involved process, and there will be delays, there will be interlocutory applications in the process. So I'm happy with the progress that has been made. We have a third case now that is proceeding, so there isn't much that we could do with the situation.
Do you have a watertight case on this one, or is she gonna walk?
Let's avoid a situation where we create a platform in the media where we ventilate issues that will be best dealt with in a trial court by the trial of fact. We have examined the content that was on the post and Twitter or X, and we compared that with the elements of the offense in terms of Pagdatara, and came to a conclusion that they amount to incitement to commit terrorism, they amount to an act of incitement to commit public violence. Those allegations will be tested during trial at the High Court.
How involved were the Hawks in this investigation? Because initially, I remember in 2022, when 20 people were arrested, they indicated that they were still investigating and there were statements that were deposed, which seemingly implicated Duduzile. So how involved were they in this particular investigation? Is it coming straight directly from them?
The Hawks were the investigative agency in the matter.
All right. Thank you very much.